Who are the top 10 AFL players? And no, not as simple as the best 10. It has to be the best 10, including at least one position of ruck, defender, midfielder, winger, and forward. So I'm not just going to pick 10 midfielders. I'm spreading the load. It's not just the one-off season in 2023. It's also, have they proven to be able to do that over multiple seasons? So do I trust them to do it again in 2024? Statistically, how good were they? Looking at ratings of different players from different websites. And I've come to a relative conclusion with quite a few honorable mentions. We'll start off with the easier names. I've definitely got an out-and-out best ruck in the comp, which is Max Gawn. Yes, he was injured in 2023, but we're talking the best when they're fit. When everyone's fit, who's the best? It is Max Gawn. Now, a big rule I'm going to go into later on is availability is the best ability. If one of the best players in the comp is always injured, I don't deem them as one of the best. However, Gawn, that's kind of contrary to what I'm saying with Gawn. Gawn was only injured for partial amounts of 2023, and before then, he was never really injured. I think in 2024, he'll be fine, and he is out and out the best ruck in the comp, and he makes my top 10 AFL players in 2024. My winger, I'll choose one winger, Errol Goulding. I think he's the best. Nick Martin does have that potential to overtake him, but in terms of an out-and-out winger, he is the best winger in the comp, and he also makes my top 10 AFL players. I am not putting Josh Dacos in. I'm not putting others in. I think Errol Goulding is quite clearly the best. Running capabilities, up forward, in defense, the left boot he has, piercing through opposition systematic defenses. He is in the top 10 because he's the best winger. But I've only got one winger and one ruck. Everyone else is now either a defender, a forward, or a midfielder. We'll go to my forwards next. Now, I have Nick Larkey in there, and you might be laughing at that slightly, but to finish second in the Coleman with the service that he would have gotten from a terrible North Melbourne team, how he still kicked that many goals is beyond me. I think he is going to explode. Now, this is also contrary to another video I've recorded today. I'm not sure when it's coming out, but I predicted Mitch Lewis to win the Coleman 2024. So you might be asking why I put him in here. Because Mitch Lewis didn't do it in 2023. Larkey has done it for 2 years now, and he'll continue to do it. He's young. He's going to keep improving, and I think he's probably the pole position for me as the best key forward. Easily in this top 10 list as well is Toby Green, a bit of a hybrid between a forward and a midfielder, but I put him down as a forward because he predominantly plays there, big game player, captain as well. He was pretty sure he was all-Australian captain in 2023. I mean, he's always been a best 10 player for the last 5 years when he has been fit. He seems to be getting his body a little bit better. For his sake, hopefully he keeps it fit and his body good in 2024. But in terms of right now, the best 10 AFL players, the top 10 AFL players, he's in the top 5, definitely, let alone the top 10. So, Gawn, Nick Larkey, Toby Green, and Errol Goulding. I'll move on to my third forward a little bit later. My original list didn't have this third forward in, and my also original list has taken out 2 defenders. We'll go to defenders next. The 2 defenders that have stayed in my top 10 are Tom Stewart and James Sicily. Tom Stewart quite literally is the best medium-sized defender. I haven't picked a small defender in this because I don't think there is one. I don't think Jack Sinclair deserves to be top 10. Tom Stewart, purely because the last sort of 8 years he has been the barometer of defenders. The one. I mean, he gets tagged. How does a defender get tagged? Make it make sense. That's how good he is. He is getting older now and playing in a worse team, so he might slowly drop off, but I'm still putting him in there, even though a lot of the stats and, the player ratings in 2023 didn't have him high. So I'm looking past that and judging him on the eye, and he's easily in. And as a recording, he just signed a really big contract. So he's a Geelong man for life, and he's definitely top 10. In terms of a key defender, I put James Sicily in. He is a captain. He is a leader. He is a brilliant one-on-one defender. He is brilliant at mental games. He is quite good in an offensive sense. Like, his offensive attributes from the defense is quite impressive, if that makes sense. Now, there are, like I said, 2 defenders that I didn't put in. I'll go through one of them really quick. Sam Taylor. When Sam Taylor's fit, he's the best defender in the comp, but he hasn't been consistently fit for like 3 odd, maybe even 4 years, or maybe 3 years. Whereas Sicily, Stewart, Gawn, Nick Larkey, Toby Green's a different beast. Like, that guy is so good, he doesn't really need to be. But Sam Taylor, availability is the best ability, and I feel like it just affects him a little bit too much. But I had originally put him down there until I thought, you know what, I do need to take into account that he's not even on the pitch that much. So you need to take things like that into account, and hence I don't quite have him in my list, but he'll be in my honorable mention, or he is my honorable mention of missing out. Now, in terms of other defenders, I've not put the likes of Wiedering, May, Moore in. I just haven't. I think a defender, you really need to watch them to the eye. Stats can be quite misleading with defenders based on how many attacking threats they face, how good their midfield is at covering back. There's a lot of things, so I try to look a bit more from the eye at these defenders, and I think Stewart and Sicily are the best. We'll go to my other defender who I just had missing out in a second. The two midfielders I've always had in, who one of them you could argue is sort of a forward, Marcus Bontempelli and Christian Petrarca. Bontempelli has been the best player in the comp for the last 4 or 5 years, period, easy. Bob's maybe 4 years actually, 3-4 years. That's a definite. Like Bontempelli, he's definitely in this team. He's the first name I put in there, and he'll be the last to leave because he's number 1. Petrarca is probably number 2. Like if I had to do an order, which you know what, I'll do an order at the end, the best. But Petrarca is also definitely in there. He is so professional, so good, so explosive. Big game player, the Norm Smith. Same with Bont, should have won the Norm Smith in 2016. And just what Petrarca can do in that midfield, rolling through the forward line and influencing on the scoreboard. He's a bit different to Petrarca. Petrarca is a bit more defensively minded in the sense that he does still move forward, but he has those capabilities to move back. Bont is clear of Petrarca, but Petrarca is clear of every other midfielder apart from Bontempelli. I think those two have always been head and shoulders above the comp, and I think the main thing with those two is they're always fit. You know, we've seen like Walsh, Cripps, they could easily be in this team, but they're not as fit. Even some other midfielders we can go through a bit later. Now, when I was making this list, I was actually quite surprised because no midfielders really stood out to me apart from those two, and there's definitely a couple names you'll be screaming at me right now. So right now we've got Gawn, Stewart, Sicily, Larkey, Toby Green, Goulden, Bont, Petrarca. 2 more names. There's 2 more names I have. One of them is Charlie Curnow. Now, I think you just have to put Charlie Curnow in. He's so dominant. The reason I didn't have him in initially was he didn't play well in the finals. I value being a big game player more than anything, because that's when it matters. Playing on the big stage is when you can play the perfect season in the home and away season, but if I know you're not going to perform in the finals, why would I put you in? Why would I put you in the finals? Whereas if I've got someone who's a final specialist and is known to play well in the finals, I'm putting them in. So I kind of toyed with that idea of not putting them in, but I think the stats speak for themselves. And to be honest, I think maybe he just had a bit of an off finals period. I do back him in to actually fire in the finals, given Carlton make it, which they should. But he's my 3rd forward. Unfortunately, Cameron, Tex Walker, a bit old, slowing down, they miss out. And other forwards like Charlie Cameron, probably not. No one else is really, screaming at me. Oscar Allen's also a really good shout, but they don't get in. One more name, and I'm gonna go through the sort of defender / midfielder that didn't make it in. It's Nick Dacos. Okay, a couple reasons why Nick Dacos doesn't make it in. He's had 2 really good seasons, one phenomenal season, 2023. But 1 season, is that enough to warrant him being in the top 10 AFL players? Maybe. I don't think Dacos is that amazing player everyone thinks he is. I think statistically, if you look at him, he's not the most impressive midfielder. In terms of player ratings, he was never in the top 10. And then when I watched him in 2023, he did rack up some pointless possessions. I felt like he wasn't damaging. I prefer to the eye those big body damaging midfielders. The Tom Greens, who's another good shout. Those sorts of guys. The Cripps, the Dusties, the Fifes, the Dangers. I don't rate him that highly. I did originally have him in this list, and then I added those 2 points together, and I thought, if someone's got to miss out, it's probably Dacos. I feel like he's just missing something from his game. Maybe there's a shortage of good mids at the moment, but in the past, 10, 15 years I've been watching footy, we've had Chris Judds, Dane Swans, the Ablets, recently the Dusties, Fifes, Dangers, those sorts of players. And Dacos doesn't strike me as someone who gets anywhere close to their capabilities. I've seen videos online who had someone comparing prime Dusty to prime Dacos, and he chose 80% Dacos in attributes, which is absolutely horrific. I'm not going to get into that. I don't rate Dacos that much. I think you watch him to the eye, he benefits off a good system that suits him, and a system that is the best system in the league, because Collingwood are the best team. I think if he played for a worse team, things would be a little bit different, but you could say the same about Darcy Moore, De Goey, players like that. Unfortunately, he doesn't make this list, which therefore means there's no Collingwood player in this list. And you might be laughing at that, but it's actually somewhat of a compliment, which means in a sense that if you win the flag without, in my opinion, any of the top 10 players in the comp, you're doing something right in terms of a team. So that's actually something you might actually would rather. A lot of actuallys in that sentence. So my last player, I've said 9. This the 10th player, debating. I was debating between Dacos. I was debating between De Goey, who I've already mentioned, who doesn't make it. Cripps and Walsh, really unfortunate not to make it. I think they both would in many other lists. This last midfielder is someone that I'm really sold on them, but they just do have that ability to have an off season, but now they've got it right. This player has got it right. They are now leading from the front. It's Zach Merritt. And Zach Merritt has one of the best kicks in the comp. He has that ability to damage in the forward line with few touches, like really damaging, or he can move and roll through the midfield. He's now cemented himself as a good captain. The first time he was captain for Essendon, it was a bit dodgy, sort of lost it a bit, but he has led from the front superbly. I really rate him as a player, and to be honest, I think he deserves top 10. He just sneaks in 10. So that leads me to talking about players that didn't make it. Lachie Neale, he did not deserve the Brownlow. He didn't even make All-Australian. He's not going in this list. Come on, let's be real. Zach Butters, I love Butters, but Connor Rozee is better. And Connor Rozee, he was originally in my list. He was originally, him, Dacos, and Merritt were the 3. Rozee was in after Dacos, and because I think Rozee's going to explode. But the only reason I didn't want to have him in is because Butters did have a better 2023, despite the fact I think Rozee's better. I think Rozee has more versatility and ability to him, but we just got to wait to see how he handles the captaincy for me to, put him in the top 10. And then that's why I put Zach Merritt in. He's in his prime now, and at the moment, he's top 10. So if I had to rank them from 1 to 10, 1, Bont, 2, Petrarca, 3, Toby Green, 4, James Sicily, 5, Nicolaki, yep. 6, Charlie Curnow, 7, Max Gawn, 8, Tom Stewart, 9, Errol Goulding, 10, Zach Merritt. Yes. Walker, Moore, De Goey, Neale, Rozee, Butters, Cripps, Walsh, Oliver, Dawson, Charlie Cameron, Jeremy Cameron. Loads of players miss out. But that's sort of what you sign up for this top 10. And you got to be brutal. We're not just redoing the Brownlow, okay? It's a different sort of list. That's the list I've come up with. It's going to cause controversy or controversy. Either or. However you pronounce it, it's going to cause a lot of problems. So in the comments below, let me know your top 10 AFL players if you had to include a ruck, a winger, defender, forward, and midfielder. Because if you just say simply top 10, I feel like it's a little bit more boring. So spice it up a bit. Let me know in the comments. And make sure to like, subscribe, follow the TikTok FTFooty, and I'll be seeing you guys in another video.